All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started so we can make sure everyone gets out on time. But thank you for joining myself and my staff mate Ryan. We'll introduce ourselves here in a second, but this is the introduction to walking school buses and walk, bike, and roll to school day. We work for Boulder County, and we are in the Community Permitting and Planning Department at the county. And within that group is the Transportation Planning Division. And so we work on a team called Mobility for All. Some of you might be familiar with it. That really focuses on the human-centered side of transportation. And so today we're focusing on youth and schools and families and the programs that benefit them. And so we will introduce you kind of to the two main topics of the day. We're going to go over resources that are available for you if you want to dig in or learn more. And we should have plenty of time for question and answers as well at the end on either topic. But maybe we can just go around and quickly introduce ourselves. And then Ryan is going to have a poll, a couple of questions for you all to help me better understand who's in the room and how much detail to go into either one of these topics. So Ryan, I'll let you introduce yourselves and then you can kick it over to someone else.
Cool. Hello, everybody. I'm Ryan James. I am with the Transportation Department, Mobility for All group. I am the Youth Transportation Program Specialist. Yeah, and I'm really happy to be here today.
Penn, it looks like you're unmuted. Do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I'm Penn Street. I'm with Audio Information Network of Colorado, out of Boulder, but we cover the entire state. And our basic purpose is that we're connecting people who are print impaired, and that could be somebody who's visually impaired, but it's also somebody who has any type of disability that causes print to be a struggle, and to connect them to the resources and services to make them have a life with independence.
Wonderful. Glad you're here. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just go around in the order that I see names. How about Lacey?
Hey everyone, my name's Lacey and I work for Save Energy Coalition, and we are we cover the whole state of Colorado, but we're kind of based in Fort Collins. That's where I am right now. But I'm working on a bunch of different projects around clean energy and clean transportation. That's what Save Energy Coalition does. We have 4 full-time staff, and I'm doing projects related to micromobility and like e-bikes and workforce development and charging stations for workplaces. So I'm big into transportation, and I heard about this from Jerome Rouser from the Northern Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization. And so I'm just kind of seeing if there's anything I can do to promote clean transportation in schools. And so that's kind of how I heard of Safe Routes to Schools. And so this walking school bus seems like right down my alley. It's something I really love to learn about. So thanks for having me.
Oh, awesome. Really glad you're here. Yeah, and I think we'll definitely be able to make some connections that might interest you.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
So how about Matt?
Hi, Matt Berkey. I'm the Safe Routes to School coordinator for the Iowa Bicycle Coalition. There's 3 Safe Routes to School coordinators in the state, and I have to cover 83 of 99 counties. So I'm excited. What I'm working on is updating the curriculum to be used in schools and try and have it be the same across the state. So I'm excited to learn about walking school buses and how to pitch that to urban and rural communities.
Oh, Pat, I was gonna say, you could probably do this session with your eyes closed too, but really glad you're here. So very cool. How about Marty? Oh, Marty, you don't have a mic? Okay, that's fine. Glad you're, maybe introduce yourself in the chat if you're able to. Use the chat function, but glad you're here. Oh, and yep, she's putting her in, she works at Eisenhower. Wonderful. And very interested in getting this going at your school. Super, great. We should hopefully be able to share you some resources that will help you get that going. Let's see, how about is it Carolina? Maybe we'll come back to her. How about, is it Juliana? And I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Well, maybe we have some folks who aren't able. If you're able to introduce yourselves in the chat, that would be great. I'm gonna go ahead and start us off with, oh, it looks like I might not have it either. If Angel or Ryan, if you have the polls available, it looks like it's not available anymore. Would one of you be able to launch the poll? If not, we can just ask the questions. Ryan, you can? Okay, great. So just to get a sense of how you found out about this session, the first question, when Ryan's able to get it launched, is how did you find out about this session? That will just help us figure out what are the best avenues that we're reaching folks. Some of you mentioned it already. Is that working for you, Ryan?
It is, yes, sorry, I was answering some stuff in the chat.
Oh, okay. Are you able to launch them, Ryan? I think we're just waiting to see the.
Yeah, I was, did you want me to launch all three or just the first one?
First one, sure, that'd be great.
Cool, yeah, it's launched.
All right, I don't see anything yet, so there we go. Well, let me know when you're ready, Ryan, to share responses.
Cool, yeah, we got 6 responses right now.
All right, can you go ahead
Which-
and, yeah. Can you
Cool,
share?
so yeah, I can. I don't think I can share it like directly, but I can tell you what they are. So it looks like finding out about the session. We had 1 person from social media. We had 4 from email and then 2 from other.
Okay, great. And then go ahead and launch the next 2, por favor. And the next 2 questions should be basically be asking you about your familiarity or awareness already with walking school buses. Some of you shared that. And then the other question would be your familiarity with walk and bike and roll to school day. And this will just help me kind of tailor the rest of this introduction session to sort of see how much detail or not to go into, if everybody's already aware or not, but if we've got a wide variety of awareness, that's fine too. So Ryan, whenever you're ready, report back.
Well, yeah, so it looks like it. One of us is not familiar. 4 of us have heard of it, and then 2 of us have participated in the past.
Nice. And is that for walk and roll to school day?
Yep, that's correct. Now I'll launch the other one.
Wonderful, super helpful. And welcome, Angel and Avery. I see you popped on after we got started, so glad you're here.
We're just waiting on 1 more.
Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, as far as awareness with the walking school bus, it looks like 2 of us are not familiar, and then 5 of us have heard of it.
Okay, super, that's great. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and start presenting. Ryan, if you can help watch the chat for me, since when I share my screen, I'm not gonna be able to see it anymore. But please interrupt anytime to ask questions. We should have plenty of time. I'd rather have you ask your question in the moment. So Ryan, just verbally let me know if there's a chat or if you see a hand raised or something. Okay, Thank you. So give me 1 second here. Oop. Sorry, folks, I accidentally clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. That took me a second. Sorry, everybody. Okay, let's officially get going. I'm going to minimize this. Okay. So what we're going to do today, just so everyone is on the same page, is we're going to talk about, like I mentioned, the 2 topics, walk and roll to school day, walking school buses. And for those of you who are familiar or aren't, walk and roll to school day has been around internationally for almost 30 years now. Not quite as long in the US. So let me get some of the stuff out of the way. But it's been around for a while in the US as well now. It started over in Europe, but it's really a day that was meant to encourage children and or school staff to be more active and kind of reap all the benefits of active transportation. The link over on the right, walkbiketoschool.org, Ryan's going to put in the chat for everybody, and we will send it in a follow-up email with everybody. But this website is where you can officially register either your community, your neighborhood, your school, whomever is possibly interested in running or hosting a walk to school day event. You can register, and the numbers get tallied across the country about how many places participated across the country and across the world. So folks, you know, local Longmont, local Boulder, local wherever you're coming from, Iowa, it sounds like, you would be counted as part of that national effort. And this year, it's always hosted on the first Wednesday of every October. I preface that by saying you can host Walk and Roll to School Day any day you want in October, and it will still count. If that Wednesday for some reason isn't a good day for you, you can kind of treat it as Walk and Roll to School Month, if that's helpful, if you want to do more than one day of an event, or if that particular day doesn't work for you, not a problem at all. You can register and still participate any day in October, and everyone is counted. So on the link that Ryan shared, you'll be able to directly register from that website. Some of the benefits of Walk and Roll to School Day. Oh, and I should preface that now, to be more inclusive, I should go back a little bit to say a lot of practitioners across the country are now talking about this as Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day. Each May, there's Bike, Walk, and Roll to School Day, like the opposite. So October is where they highlight walking and pedestrians in the fall. And then in the spring, they highlight bikers and bicyclists. So we have a Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day every October. And then in the spring, every May, it would be the Bike, Walk, and Roll. So same kind of concept, 2 opportunities throughout a school year to host an event to really either bring awareness to the benefits of active transportation or to highlight a specific program you might want to highlight. But there's 2 opportunities during any given school year to activate or rally around one of these events if you're interested. But a lot of the reasons that people have said they like participating either and or hosting these events is, one, because it's just fun. It's nice to be able to get together with a group of like families, kids, staff, students, whatever it might be, and do something in a coordinated way that may not happen on every other day in a normal situation. It's a really nice way to promote and feel good about healthier habits. Getting out of a car, as we all might know, can create a safer environment for everyone, as well as get your body moving a little bit more before and after school, which we know has academic benefits. The cleaner environment, again, less cars means less emissions, also kind of that global cleaner air benefits. And then safety promotion. The fewer cars that we have out on the roads, especially when there's density of a lot of people in one place at one time, which we know happens at pickup and drop-off lines, the more cars that we don't have on the road and the more people we have walking and biking together, it actually makes it safer for everyone. And a lot of people feel just personally safer when they have more people to walk and bike with that they may not necessarily get on a normal given day without there being some sort of concerted effort to encourage walking or biking. And then the community benefits on the right, which are somewhat similar, but a few additional ones are that this is where often people feel like they get more connected to their neighbors. They get to see people in their community that are walking and biking on a day that's activated that they don't otherwise get to see, and they feel that sort of community connectedness in a new way or a larger way. There's cost benefits, especially with saving gas money, or whatever it might be your normal mode. If you do buses or other things, there might be an opportunity to get off the bus a stop or two early and join up with the walkers and bikers. So kind of regardless of whatever the normal mode is, there might be some community connection benefits as well as some cost benefits. And again, the improved accessibility is especially for those who might be experiencing some sort of disability, whether it's physical or not. Having others that are out there walking or bicycling with them gives them a way to either participate and feel like they're part of the group that they wouldn't otherwise feel like, and or again, that kind of safety in numbers. There's more people doing what they might be normally doing than they would see on any given normal day. So number of benefits, again, on the website that Ryan put in the chat, there's going to be a lot of more details about all of this. And for, I think it was Matt, our friend from Iowa, if you haven't checked out that website, and they have a lot of planning guides on that site, as well as tips on how to get started, as well on how to prevent or plan an event in 7 days, how to focus on safety, how to focus on access for all students. So these are the kinds of resources that are available for free. And the picture up on the right-hand corner lets you know that's what it looks like. So if you find that website, if you find the website that looks like the picture up top, you'll know you're in the right place. This website also has a ton of event ideas. So if after the session you feel like I still don't know exactly what to do or how to do it, the whiteboxtoschool.org website has plenty of ideas. There's also free marketing templates. So if you want to do a flyer to send home, or if you want to do a social media campaign, they have it. Downloadable free materials. And again, you can use these just to activate a single event, multiple events, or use the similar language to encourage walking and biking all year long. For those of you who are local, wanted to highlight that I will go through both school districts as well as the county, the resources that we have available to you, but Boulder Valley School District folks, you have safe routes to school coordinators in the transportation department of the school district. Their names are listed below and how to reach them, but they are able to help you if you're interested in identifying safe walking and rolling routes to and from schools for any particular school of interest. They're able to provide some support in possibly creating some route maps. And sometimes people want to create a formal sign up. You can do this very informally or get much more formal about it. But if there's any forms that you might need to make your program feel like you're managing it the right way, they will help you get the official language necessary for any forms. Similar, St. Vrain Valley School District, Teresa is the wellness coordinator, and Ryan with GIS, they can also help with identifying safe walking and rolling routes. They can also help with map making. They can also help with official language. And one of the things that Teresa, the wellness coordinator, is doing is that she will help any school that's interested in activating safe walking and safe biking into the school's wellness plan and or safety plans. and probably in BVSD and St. Vrain and across the country, a lot of schools have adopted a coordinated school health approach, which means they need to have these wellness and safety committees. So these programs kind of help schools and school districts meet those wellness goals and safety goals. So it's one way you can talk about these events as a way to make those connections from a school language, is that it will help support often wellness policies, physical activity policies, safety policies, and plans that the school district has goals around. These programs are very complementary, that you can come in and possibly talk about how you can support those goals, and bring something to the table that says we would love to collaborate with you on. And then for myself and my team here at Boulder County, if you're local, if you choose to run an event, on top of the free resources that the school district has, we also are able to provide you with reflective safety vests for either the participants and or the event leaders. And we'll kind of talk about event leaders in a little bit, as well as safety gear, other safety gear and educational items. We want to make sure that we know in Colorado, especially in the winter and in the fall, it starts getting darker a little earlier. So especially on those way homes, it's really nice to be able to provide participants with reflective items. And again, after today, you would like to talk more and get more in the weeds about these kinds of things, we can do additional training or kind of support you through in more detail than what we're going to go over today in just this introduction. Just reach out to me. That's my contact information on the screen, and we can walk through that in a little bit more detail. So I know I've been talking at you, trying to do some nice wellness habits of, if you've been staring at the screen this whole time, maybe look up far away in the distance for 20 seconds and give your eyes a break. And then Rye, we'll just open it up for any kind of discussions around walk, bike, and roll to school day. So can you let me know whenever, if there's any questions, Ryan, and I'll keep the screen up.
For sure. Yeah. Right now we don't have any questions, but I'll keep my eye on it.
Do any of you have any great examples about hosting a walk and roll to school event already, about what you've learned or done or are curious about doing? Before we kind of launch into walking school buses specifically, just want to open it up to the group around any comments or questions around walk, bike, and roll to school day.
Angel raised her hand.
I have a question about, if our school is not already doing it, like what tactics do you recommend that we take to try to encourage our school to adopt a walking school walk to school day celebration?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. And I think on the website that we shared too, about where you can find additional resources, one thing they do have is kind of those talking points and how to pitch this. So whether you're pitching it at a school district level, or whether you're pitching it at a school level itself, or a community level, or with a group, one of the ways that we have found is most effective is kind of figure out the school's language and the school or school district's priorities. And like I said, there's often wellness goals, safety goals that schools are paying very close attention to. And so if you can link and bring up to them that we've got these options that will help support them, and that we're bringing additional resources to you, that you don't necessarily have to do more, but we could love and come collaborate with you and say, hey, teachers or schools, if you would like to self-run this, we can help support you in this. If you would like us to come and run this for you, let's talk about it. So there's ways you can pitch it to them, as there's options in how to run it, that there's no one size fits all way to do walk and roll to school day. But if you can speak their language around those wellness goals and safety goals, and again, I should probably say environmental goals, those are becoming much, much more common with schools too, that a lot of schools and or school districts are finding a way into these kind of safe routes to school programs or annual events through environmental channels as well. And then often, if you secondly speak about it as benefits for not only students, but also staff and families, some school districts really like to hear that we're kind of focusing on the whole family, kind of the school community, and this benefits the entire school community, not just one group or the other. That's been a way to kind of get your foot in the door as well. But really talking with your school partners, whether that's a teacher that you already have a connection with, or a principal you have a connection with, or a district employee you have a connection with, to have them help you figure out what are the districts or schools kind of priority areas around wellness, safety, and or environmental. That's a great way to start the conversation.
Great, thank you so much.
Well, yeah, it looks like we got a couple more things in the chat here. So first thing, Juliana said that we did it last year and it was fun. It was a fun event, but we needed more to grow the activity for more than just one day.
And when you say needed more, are you talking about resources or idea? What maybe clarify a little?
Looks like it was due to volunteers to help us maintain helping our students.
Yeah, and I think the volunteer recruitment or who might be leading it has always been a challenging point, giving limited resources. And anyone is free to chime in, but I'll give some examples of what I've known other people have done is, one, the PTO, depending on how active they are, how receptive they are. Often those parents, PTOs will have kind of a sign-up sheet for volunteers. So one of the things that you can do is go talk to the PTO, get their buy-in on something like this, and have them help support and promote and run one-time or reoccurring events if you're interested. And they can use their parent kind of volunteer sign-up system for all the things the parent or the PTO is working on. A number of schools have found success in putting it out there through their PTOs. A number of schools also partner with like local nonprofits or like outside agencies like ourselves as a way to come in and help host an event for a day. Ongoing programs might be a little bit harder to sustain with outside partnerships, but potentially that might be the perfect solution, is that there might be a local partner in your area who is also interested in these topics and has the capacity or might be more than willing to host an event once a month, it might be. And that's where the walking school bus will kind of get into this as like one example of what what schools have used to, they've used Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day as a way to launch kind of a larger ongoing program for walking school buses, which we'll totally get into next. But a lot of times communities already have organic groups walking together. And it might just take a day or two out there in the mornings of meeting with those families that you see kind of coming already grouped up and talking to those parents on the corner about, hey, we're going to do this event in a month or two. Would you be interested in helping us activate it? That might be a way, because there's a lot, and then be willing to sort of invite other people in your neighborhood to come, that you might not need to find necessarily new volunteers to come do something new. There might be volunteers who might be more than willing to support an event like this, who are already kind of organically doing it. They just didn't realize it or have the name, or there hasn't been kind of the container wrapped around it as a way to speak about it. So there might be some Walk and Bike and Roll to School Day kind of natural activity already going on, and this and giving it these kind of parameters or names might help people feel, might be a way to formalize it a little bit. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. Okay.
And we got one more, Cami, if that's okay.
Super, of course.
Okay, so Marty said, I would like to do a walking school bus, but I don't really know where to start. And then just wondering, is reaching out to Amy Thompson a good place to start?
Sure. Well, great segue, because we're going to talk about the walking school bus next. And we'll definitely make sure that you've got some resources today before you leave that you can look into more on your own. But there is a toolkit a literally how to start a toolkit that is free resource for all of you. The link is up in the corner and Ryan can put it in the chat for us, please. This is what we aren't going to spend the rest of the time today going into detail in this, but I want to make you aware of what's in it. And this is where I'm offering up, if any of you, especially locally, would like to dig into this more, happy to support you through that and getting you connected to the right folks. But if you can always reach out to Amy and or Landon directly as well. And maybe we'll just get a small group of us together to kind of talk and figure out how can we support your efforts if you're at that stage of readiness to start one. But just to give you a quick summary of what's in this toolkit, it's kind of like these are the 5 sections. How to kind of just step into the world around it and learn about it. There's a whole section on just getting started, excuse me. The next section is when you feel like your group and or agency or yourselves are ready, what are the things that you want to think through to kind of plan an event? There's a whole section on how to recruit student leaders and how to promote your program. There's free resources within the toolkit about templates you can use, like I said, to promote the walking school bus specifically. So there's free resources on how to promote Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day on the previous website. And then this link will take you to how to the free resources about how to start up a walking school bus. And then the steps that definitely are just as important as the first 3 to get ready is how to kind of kick it off and keep it running once you've started it, and then how to evaluate and adjust. So this guide is a great, thorough, very helpful guide. It's free to download if you want to either pin it on your web, pin it up in your web browser or download it or print it out. It is created by the National Safe Routes Partnership, which they were formerly known as Safe Routes to School. And as Safe Routes to School as a national movement has expanded to not only Safe Routes to School, but also Safe Routes to Park, Safe Routes to Food, Safe Routes to kind of anywhere. So they've renamed or rebranded themselves as a Safe Routes Partnership. But they still do Safe Routes to School. So this is all coming from kind of that national think tank and national wealth of information with great examples from other locations of how other places have sustainably run these programs. The Safe Routes Partnership also has a number of webinars highlighting programs that have already done this and their lessons learned, if you feel like that would be helpful to review. So we can make sure that in our follow-up email, you will get links to all of these things that we're mentioning today, so you don't have to necessarily feel like you've got to go find this stuff on your own. We'll make sure you get it. But the benefits of a walking school bus, similar to Walk and Roll to School Day, but improve traffic safety habits and increase confidence on navigating our intersections and our streets and sidewalks. The increased physical daily activity that comes with a walking school bus. Mentioned same thing, students are ready to learn if they get a little bit more ready to learn if they get a little bit of activity before school. Correlation shows if people move right before they're ready to learn, their brain is activated to be able to retain academic information better than those who had been or haven't moved much when the learning has started. Same thing with after school, even though we might need a brain break, obviously getting any sort of physical activity, whether it's through walking or biking after school, helps staff and students de-stress, take those deep breaths and kind of like have a bit of that gap between when school ends and maybe having to start homework. So there's lots of physical benefits to our academic learning when we get a chance to walk or bike before or after school. Walking school buses can also help families solve some transportation issues. I'm sure we're all well aware of the challenges that families experience with, I've got to get my kids to work or multiple people to school, as well as myself or others to work, and with different bell times and work times and all these things, it can be really tricky. So having a walking school bus as an option to have your child or someone else's child walk with other people that has a trusted adult attached to it can often really provide kind of that true missing need that can help families and or schools deal with some transportation issues that have been identified. And again, increase family and community engagement, very similar benefits to just doing a walk, bike and roll to school day. Obviously, the same benefits exist with a walking school bus, with the thought that walking school buses might happen more regularly than once or twice a year, but you can always do them once or twice a year just to start as a way to get your school community interested in the concept and or potentially to eventually buy into the concept of doing something more regularly. Again, some additional benefits: cleaner environment, peace of mind for families to know their kids are walking with other people or biking with other people. Again, it saves on gas money and it's just fun. So when we're talking about walking school buses, there are a number or different ways to approach this. There's very informal ways to approach this. Again, like we're saying, there might be a group of parents who are already walking their kids. It might be of interest to say, hey, parents, I see you walking every single day, a number of you with your kids. Would it be of benefit to possibly take turns so you all don't have to walk necessarily every single day? Some parents are going to want to because they might feel like this is the only time I'm going to get a chance to do that. That's fine. But for some parents, they might like, actually, that would help me a lot. If I can do Mondays and you can do Tuesdays and they can do Wednesdays, they might be more willing to let their kids walk to school together if they know there's going to be that one trusted adult there. So kind of that, this is that example of that organic group that's already kind of out there doing it. You might not have to necessarily go far to find those adult leaders for your group. They might already be out there. They just need to be presented this option. And it might be very easy to get a walking school bus going versus starting from scratch and having to sort of formally invite people. But again, taking a more formal approach is, it might be something that is sanctioned through the school, and either before or after school programs might say, we would like to start this and help our batch of kids get here. We are looking for volunteers. Please sign up. We are going to designate meeting places, which are often called bus stops. Not to get confused with the actual bus stop, but you might call them walking bus stops, or you can come up with your own name, but there might be designated stops along the way. You have kids register, there's a sign up, there's adult chaperones assigned. There's probably a coordinator for a more formal program. So in the toolkit, it's going to give you details and examples, again, of how to do an informal version all the way up to a more formal version. So again, there's no one size, one way fits all to run a walking school bus. Again, there's a lot of flexibility to start where you feel you need to start and grow into it over time. So don't be afraid that this is going to be too much work or need to be a real heavy lift to potentially start a walking school bus. So again, just want to review what's available through Boulder Valley School District. They can help with routes, they can help with maps, and they can help with the official forms, very similar to whether you're doing a one-time event or a multi-day event. Same thing with St. Vrain Valley School Districts, very similar. They also can support, I forgot to mention this before, but they can also link, help you get things linked to your school's website around if you have a more formalized program, as they would like to make sure that families who are looking for wellness activities and all those things know how to find the different options that are available through the school, so they can help with that kind of marketing piece if need be. And again, we have a lot of the same resources. Reflective items kind of can help you set things up, can kind of do some additional training if interested, and then safety items. So that's a quick review of a walking school bus. I'm going to stop sharing and kind of, if we want to just open it up for discussion at this point and see, and it looks like we have some more people who've chimed in. And so Rye, any comments and their questions that I may have skipped over or not seen yet?
Let me see. I think we got to everything.
Okay, Well, this is the part where I really like to open it up to sort of have a group brainstorm or a group discussion around the ideas that you all may be percolating over and how we can collectively support each other. Again, this was just sort of an introduction, wanted to make sure that you all were aware that there's a lot of resources out there in two really good, nice, concise places, whether it's through walkenrolltoschoolday.org and or the Safe Routes Partnership, where you can find a lot of additional information if and when you're interested and ready to do so. And that we are here to help support any of you as well if you wanted to dig in more. So similar question, has anybody done or been a part of a walking school bus and want to share their experiences or ideas? And feel free to just unmute and oh, thanks, Ryan. Like you put, oh, sorry. It looks like you put in the chat the how to plan an event in 7 days, which is a really nice way to not feel super overwhelmed, to be like, we can start small and grow from here. So if the October 4th date feels realistic to you and you're interested, you still have time to sort of work towards that goal and maybe pull something off this year.
I had a question. Do you see this being implemented a lot with just like elementary schools and middle schools, or just elementary schools maybe, or are high schools even involved in this? Or
great question. Yeah, I'd say most commonly you see it at the elementary school level, but there are a number of middle schools and high schools that do participate. A lot of the times, obviously, when the kids get older, you don't need as much adult support. There have been eco clubs at high schools and or safety clubs at high schools that lead these sort of types of, whether it's a single event or more ongoing programs on their own. And it's just sort of youth leadership opportunities. But the younger they get, obviously, that's more likely you're going to have school staff involvement potentially and or parent involvement.
okay,
But these are great opportunities for, yeah, youth leadership to take something on if you have a group of young people who is looking to sort of activate, again, whether it's environmental, from an environmental lens, a physical activity lens, a safety lens, a transportation lens, whatever it might be. A number of times the older kids have these existing groups that might want to take this on and champion it, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. How aware are you of like all these types of programs being implemented around Colorado? Like, do you know of like every school that's doing it by chance?
I don't, but Lacey, if it helps too. So there's I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm more familiar with what's going on in Boulder County, but not necessarily statewide. But what I do know is there are a lot of places statewide that are, and the best place to start, and I can help connect you to her, is to the Safe Routes to School statewide coordinator. If you don't know who she is, her name's Melissa. And I'm happy to provide her contact information afterwards.
Okay, I think I might have her contact or her email already, but thank you so much for offering.
And I will say on the walk, bike, and roll to schoolday.org, and Ryan, I don't know if you want to pull it up. There is a map, so anybody that officially registers, so you can go in and look at just in Colorado or just Iowa for or wherever you're from and see and hone in onto all of the places that have registered, and that will give you a sense of how many officially registered to be a part of Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day last year. But there's always places that just don't get officially registered either and still do things. So there's probably more than who you would see even on the map, but it's kind of neat to see how many people are participating. So Lacey, for you up in Northern Colorado, you can hone in to see who's already doing it and start building off of those relationships of folks who are already doing stuff up in your area.
Yeah, that's a great resource. How did you say to access that again?
Oh, it's on the website. There's a map.
Right.
So when
Okay.
people register, it automatically adds them to the who's participating map.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
And just so you know, too, up in Fort Collins, where are you in do you work in the Fort Collins or the Poudre School District?
Yeah, I'm located in Fort Collins, so that's
Okay.
where Poudre is. Yes.
So the Poudre Valley School District is a great example of where Safe Routes to School has been sort of operationalized for everyone. They have a very robust partnership with the city and the school district to do Safe Routes to School in every single school. So you're going to have some great champions and some folks up there who are already doing this, and it might be great for them to know you're another community partner who's interested in getting involved.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any experience with walking school buses or interests, what they're thinking? If curious to know if anyone's thinking about possibly trying to start something for October or looking into the resources more, just curious about if this sort of opens the doors to potentially exploring either one of these options a little more. Oh, and Jason, we didn't get a chance to meet you at the beginning, but see that you're here, so thanks for joining.
No problem. I'm my places around my house is being cut down like trees, so everything is loud here, so I'm on mute. So
That's right.
thanks.
Where are you from, Jason? Just curious.
I'm in Berthoud.
Oh, great.
So I'm with the same organization that Lacey's with.
Oh,
So
super.
Save Energy Coalition and Northern Colorado Clean Cities.
All right, so I have another tip for then both of you. You have a teacher, I think it's either Berthoud Elementary or Berthoud Middle School. I can confirm afterwards, but they just won an award for being one of the active school champions from across the nation. He would be a
Cool.
great, he's a PE teacher. He'd be a great contact for you to get connected with, because he, with what he's already doing to kind of cultivate an active culture at the school, an active school culture, Safe Routes to School programming fits right in and so naturally with active school culture, which is that's one way to speak a school district or school language, is to talk about that kind of active school culture.
Yeah, thank you. Berthoud is a very walk friendly town, and the kids are constantly going by my place. The parents, grandparents take them, so it's pretty consistent here. So it's good to hear that that's happening. And
Yeah. So
love to get
activating a walk to school day and or activating a walking school bus, that might be a great community where it might be naturally kind of happening, but there's no container around it.
Yep.
So to talk about, let's celebrate walk to school day and call attention to it, you might have wonderful participation right off the bat because people are already doing it. And then it can just grow from there when you kind of give it that operational container.
Totally. Yeah, it's awesome. Super
Great.
cool. This is great. This is awesome. So thanks so much.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Any other comments or questions from anyone else? If not, we're happy to give you back some 10 minutes in your day and end a little early. Oh, Ryan, yeah.
We got one more.
Oh, perfect.
So Juliana said, are there any good graphics or flyers for creating a walking school bus? We have our back to school event tonight and would love to have something available.
Yes, and I know in the toolkit, and yeah, so we'll send out the email right after this, or give us about half an hour just to make sure we got everything linked correctly. And that they definitely have great templates that you could use and print right off the bat. There's print ready materials right now that you could go print without having to do a bunch of customization on, just about walk and bike to school day if you're interested in that. And then within the walking school bus toolkit, they also have some great templates you could use almost right away. But then they also allow you to customize them, which may take a little more time, but there are ready to print options for both kind of programs we've been talking about.
Cool, and then it looks like Jason is raising his hand as well.
One question for you. For our nonprofit, we have to track GHG reductions, so greenhouse gas reductions. This is a major effort, right? So you've got a lot of kids that are no longer being dropped off, or maybe the buses don't have to pick up so many kids, right? So there's less stops if that can be organized. I'm wondering, do you do anything to capture that data?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, I was like, really great question. Yeah. And that's something that Safe Routes and or other transportation related folks across the country are always trying to figure out how do we capture the right data to show, outcomes and impact and all that good stuff. Oftentimes with this walk and bike to school day, it's trickier, or people think it's trickier to collect data, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that tricky. One way that people have done it in the past is if perhaps like Jason, your agency as a community partner can say, hey, school or PE teacher, if you all are already doing this and willing to kind of market it, what you might need is just a couple of your staff members to potentially go out and they do walk counts. And you can do walk counts over the year. And a lot of places will find out from the school district and use their GIS department, who are often really, really helpful and willing to partner with you. Or if you have another staff member in the school district, they can make that you partner with, they might be able to make the ask. Is you can figure out kind of average distance, car distance for students without any sort of identifying information, which we all know school districts cannot give.
Yep.
But you can ask for that average car distance and then be able to say, if everybody drove, it would have been this much, but we had this many walkers, therefore we saved this much greenhouse gases by just counting how many walkers you had for the day.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do that over
Okay.
time, you'd have an annual trend shift potentially, or if you did it more often throughout the year. So that's one of the simplest ways people collect data, is either walk counts or bike counts on the day of your event.
Okay.
Walking school buses have more resources of how to track that, and that's in the toolkit where you can do more on how to capture all the reoccurring walking that's going on. They've got some great ways to kind of collect metrics within that toolkit.
Okay. Thanks so much.
You bet. Let's see, any other thoughts or questions? Great. Love the questions so far, so keep them coming. We've got a few more minutes if anybody's got something still floating around their brain. Well, and I'll just put it out there. We are available. I'm available. Our staff is available anytime. So look for our follow-up email. If 3 weeks from now you have a question or need to help making some connections, I'm happy to get you connected to the statewide coordinator who might be able to connect you to other local partners. But we'll make sure to share her information, her contact information, and the state's website for Safe Routes to School. If that might just be a quicker lead for you. You don't need to go through me, but I'm really thankful you all came today, and thank you for participating and asking your wonderful questions and sharing your great ideas. Thank you. Got to run. Yep. Thank you all. Go ahead and scoot on by.